You doing? All right, cool. Andisiwe. Andisiwe Boya. How you doing, man?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Very excited to have this conversation with you. Um, there's quite a lot that intrigued me about what you said you're doing,
hmm
but I can't wait to just dive into it. The one thing that I constantly think about when I think about your role or what you do is the fact that you are always in rooms where decisions that affect millions are being made. Yet you're just there to observe, not to participate. Well, you participate, but in a different way, right? And the curiosity around what you do is how does the room rather affect the way you conceptualize and think of leadership, democracy, and influence?
Well, thank you so much for having me
Of course.
on M Sessions. Uh, I think where I can start is that it's a very different space to what I um, have grown up working in, which is the creative side of things.
Yeah.
So to make that switch from creative field to political office is one that I did not really think of initially,
Mm.
but then I had a yearning for it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what it would feel like to be in such spaces,
Mm.
nor did I anticipate how much it demands of you. Um, it's very intimidating to be around people of power,
Yeah.
especially when there's a lot of them in one
In
room.
one room.
It's difficult to be deployed, for example, to a an event where the president is, and to think of the protocol that is just a whole shift and dynamic to what you're used to. It's difficult to have to um, I don't want to use the word flirt with, but it's sort of like what you have to do and be nice to the presidential protection people just
Mm.
to be able to get that
To get
nice shot
something.
of the
Mm.
president. Yeah,
And those are the dynamics that you usually work around.
that I work around in now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But obviously there was a whole journey before you got into that
yeah.
position. Right, we'll dive deep into that. But before we do, take me into the first moment you got into that space
hmm
and the energy and feeling that you had towards both what you do professionally,
hmm
but also as an individual.
So now my thing, like where I can start is that I went for my job interview today,
Hmm.
right? And I basically went and met my current political principal at his office, and he interviewed me for a bit. And then after that, he was like, "Okay, great, you start tomorrow." I was like, "What? I'm not ready for this."
Yeah. Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking, and literally the next morning, I had to be in a different province with him.
Sure.
And obvious. Oh, and then at that time, I think I would say the person who I was taking over from in my in the office job responsibilities that I was now assuming was then sick and not around. So there was literally no training. There was no do this. It was literally just dive deep and do the best that you can.
Hmm.
So I'd say I then sat and went through um, political pages, different parties and whatever, just to see like what is expected of me, what am
Yeah.
I supposed to do, um, and how do I communicate
Hmm.
whatever my principal is saying, what is the acceptable way of doing all of this? Because, like I said, I started off in the creative industry. So literally, I learned on the job. I woke up that morning, we went to Mpumalanga, and I literally just was like, okay, we'll wing it until we
Yeah.
get it right. Um, but the beauty of it was that also I have a political principal who is very good at swaying us in the right direction, who's able to communicate what he wants specifically and how
Yeah.
to communicate, and also who's very charismatic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just have to feed off of his energy.
True.
So it made it a lot more easier for
Yeah,
me.
no, he
Yeah,
is quite a charming fella.
yeah,
Media loves him.
yeah.
So I'm sure that created a lot of ease also for you to be in the same space and still have your creative advantage work for you in that setting as well.
Yeah, and even within, for example, the mistakes that you make at first, because of being in such a high pressure environment,
Mm.
he guided me through all of it properly.
And what would be the day-to-day pressures that you never thought you would have to overcome?
Um, the day-to-day pressures, I would say, are mostly during campaign season.
Mm.
Because after campaigns and then once offices have been filled,
Everybody's nervous around
you're
it.
hardly at home. You're hardly at home. You
Yeah.
only go home to water your plants,
Mm.
and then you're back on
You're
the
out.
road. Exactly.
Mm.
Or to change clothes. In fact, during the 2024 campaign run, there's so many clothes that I bought that I don't even like because they were just cheap, and I ran out of clothes because we were always currently
Just on the
on the
road.
road. So
Mm.
it's that which is the most demanding, because you miss your family, you miss your friends, you're spending time with colleagues, only for most of the time. And I would also say just the pressure to deliver um, in real time, because
Mm.
once your political principal or the president, let's say, is on a podium speaking, you basically are, what can I say? You're fighting against time, in the sense that, like, media is there,
Is
they're
there?
always
Yeah.
invited. They
Yeah.
are the ones who
And
get the
once it's on
message
the
out first.
news,
But the
you
problem with
missed it.
media sometimes is that they distort the messaging.
True.
So it's that pressure to make sure that you are ahead of them. So I'd say
Mm.
that's the two that
So
I
that's a
can
lot of
think of.
pressure, like from a communications aspect,
Yes.
because you could deliver a message with the wrong perception,
Hmm.
and then that would digress to so many other things.
Exactly. And just to ensure that you always capture everything,
Sure.
because if you don't have the evidence for yourself,
Mm.
then it means that anyone can make a run with distorting your principle.
Jeez, man.
Yeah,
That's insane. And all of this started only with creative passion
yeah,
that brought you to Joburg.
yeah.
When was that time? Around when was that?
Let me go back to metric.
Okay.
I initially wanted to study photography at Nelson Mandela University now.
Mm.
It used to be called Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. But you know, when you're in matric, then different universities would come and give you brochures and whatever.
Mm.
So I would go through that, and I initially wanted to study photography.
Yeah.
And the difficult part was just convincing a black single mom that you want to go and learn
Into
how to take
photography.
pictures. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember the booming career path at that time, around 2010, 11. I matriculated 2010, was IT,
Mm.
when we were
Okay.
then going into the whole digital era. So I then decided that let me just go and study multimedia in
Yeah.
IT, because
Okay.
it looked like something that would be, because your parents are, especially your mom, is always scared that you're gonna go to school and um, learn a new skill and then end up unemployed. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me then do it via back route. Let me go do multimedia, because then
Yeah.
multimedia combines sound,
Mm.
video, images, and animation. So I was like, okay, I'll do multimedia. But then my biggest or love, even within the course that I was doing,
Was
was always
photography.
photography.
Yeah.
So I then started, like, taking images of people for free and all of that,
Yeah.
up until I realized that, okay, cool, I can make money out of this, even if
Yeah.
it was like 500 rands. It was a lot of money for a
Something.
student,
Yeah.
So that's how I then ended up doing photography. Um, and even then, I think IT just left my brain. I was like, I'm never gonna work a
Never gonna
day
do
in my life
IT.
in this. I'll just see it through,
Yeah.
and then I'll follow my passion.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That was a very driven mindset you had.
yeah.
Is it something that has always been consistent in your life throughout, even in early stages?
I would say for photography has just always followed me
Hmm.
in a beautiful way because I ended up at some point hired by some motorbike tourism company that is based in Cape Town.
Okay.
And that started off with them asking me to shoot one tour. So actually, I've been on the road for a long time.
Seems like it's something you enjoy.
Yeah, so literally, like,
Yeah.
I'm in a hotel every day. I'm having breakfast, lunch, and dinner in nice restaurants. It's a luxury tour,
Hmm.
and it's usually mostly German and European people. And they were very expensive.
Yeah.
You pay around 100K for a week,
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
so it was really nice and
Usually, yeah.
comfortable. So I would go in as an, what is this, freelancer for them.
Okay.
And then eventually the boss then said, don't you want to be based in the office full time?
Hmm.
It's like, okay, cool.
And around when was that?
This is 2018.
How long past your varsity years?
Um, Years later.
Uh,
Yeah. And then after that, I then decided that I'll make the move. I'll go to Cape Town. I moved in, I started working. I used to literally be a biker as well. I had my own
sure.
motorbike.
It's crazy. This is a journey. This is a journey built up of experiences that are coherent
Hmm.
around photography.
Yeah.
But in that, there are aspects of you that you got to express. The travel aspect of it,
Hmm.
the love of culture aspect of it, because you're a lover of
Yeah,
culture. I
definitely.
see it in your music taste,
Yeah.
in the things that you, I think, do casually.
Hmm.
Um, how are you able to embody that so fluently, especially on your personal extensions like your social media platforms, or because if someone can go to your social media right now where you put all of your content,
Hmm.
they can see that brief of
Yeah.
I started traveling,
Yeah.
and from traveling I yeah.
I'd say it's because I don't make my work my personality.
Mm,
I'm a different person to my work. I treat whether I'm working in a tourism space or I'm working in a political office or if I'm in in the creative space. If you noticed, I have two different social media
yeah,
pages because
yeah.
I still want to be
That
myself
was very
outside.
confusing at first. I'm like,
Yeah, I
wait a
still want
minute.
to be myself outside of my job.
uh,
And that's how I treat politics as well. Is that like I'll be at work, I'll be in my current political homes, regalia. But
mm,
then as soon as I'm done with that, I want to strip myself off of that and just be the person who enjoys consuming jazz music,
yeah,
who
yeah.
likes consuming African photography, who loves documentaries, if you were to see my YouTube algorithm, it's just usually just documentaries every day. I pay for Netflix, but I am hardly ever there because I prefer
Watching the
YouTube because you
documentaries,
can
yeah,
find any and everything there. So I enjoy live music. I
yeah,
love concerts.
yeah.
I mostly am a fan of local music as well.
I noticed that, yeah.
So I'd say that's yeah.
You
That's
envision yourself doing a documentary at some point?
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah,
Um, I document a lot
true.
and I archive things a lot. There's still images that I probably shot, I'd say, a decade ago that I've never published,
Hmm.
you know. And the aim of that for me mostly is because I want to eventually, well, I don't want to jinx it, but anyways, I'm speaking it out into the
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah.
But eventually, I would like to
From your
have
mouth to God's ears.
a photo book like the ones that you put on your
Mm,
coffee table or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
that'd be nice because I've seen a little bit
yeah.
from your lens,
And I've
and
been in different spaces as well. So
and I
that's
like,
also different chapters of that book that I'm currently creating and working on.
sure,
Yeah,
that's great stuff, man.
yeah.
Um, I'm very much interested in how, since you are in the space a lot, what impact or influence does that have on your own perception of politics from the mainframe of things, and also being able to see people of power or discern them before they deliver that core speech,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I sit at home and I wait to switch on the TV network and watch this general or the president deliver a speech. You get to witness this thing happen moments before
Yeah.
people, you know?
I'd like to start by saying that, there's this narrative that politicians don't work. They only have their own interests
Mm.
at heart and all of that. And I think then being part of the machinery is what makes you realize that that's absolute. There's a lot of people who form up those teams. There's a lot of people who put in a lot of work. There's a lot of people who sweat, cry behind the scenes to make sure that something happens.
And I guess
Because
the
then
reason it's not seen is because we don't see the people behind.
yes,
Yeah.
you only see what is delivered at the final product. So once you get to see that, you get a newfound respect for politicians. I always say I'll never be a politician. I have no desire
To be a politician.
because to be a politician, you have to let go of a lot of yourself and just focus on the deliverables of what is required of you. But I do also understand why people have sort of like this hate and animosity towards politicians, because somewhere down the line, someone is going to come and do something wrong.
Yeah.
And then what does that do?
It reflects bad on the
Yeah,
person who delivered the
exactly.
whole concept.
Our youth actually does want to know more,
Sure.
but I feel like I don't know what the difficulty is with actually educating yourself more about politics, because they do affect all of us at the end of the day. But I think I really enjoy being able to dissect discussions and topics. For example, just before we started the interview, we were
Yeah.
talking about the whole upcoming local government elections and whatever.
And the coalition structure.
You'll find that there's a lot of people who don't even know that Joburg and Tshwane have been under a coalition
For a
of
long
many
time.
other political parties for a long time. Because at the end of the day, people just see that President Ramaphosa is president of which political party. So it means that all of whatever happens must be blamed at that party.
Yeah.
But it's like we're in an era of coalition governments to even a national level at this point, where we're governed by 10 political parties.
Sure.
You see. So just to be able to strip down those kind of topics to people who generally don't really care, so to say, but who want to know more. I like being the voice of reason in those circumstances.
It's so good that you are able to extend yourself in that form, because I think also the lack of interest to some point, especially from a young mind, is usually like, okay, we have these questions, but where do we get the answers?
Yeah.
And who can readily give me an answer?
And generally, politicians are not people that are easily accessible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So where do I get the answers?
Yeah.
You know? So with you having that proximity to the leadership and being able to engage in that conversation, I think it's a beautiful way of extending yourself. I love the fact that you're able to eliminate the essence of you being, in that space professionally, and just be a creative.
Yeah.
Because what a beautiful world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Being creative is a lovely way to express yourself. And yeah, I see a lot of your well, I think where I see you live a lot, and I mean, this is judging based off of your social media, of course, is when you're out. You're out of the country.
Yeah.
And you're having fun. That's your typical vibe.
I like documenting unfamiliar spaces. So for example, you'll find that on my social media, I probably won't post. I'll just be resharing things until I travel, because I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing my same couch, the same TV, the same glass of whiskey, whatever.
All the time.
But it's like once I get out of the my familiar spaces, then that's when my creative Wi-Fi just becomes.
I think that's why I'd recommend traveling to a lot of people, especially young people,
Yeah.
because there's a way that affects your perception
Mm-hmm.
and your creativity as well,
Yep.
because you start seeing things from a different dynamic.
Yep.
And I wonder if being in the political space had that same impact and effect on you. I think that's why I countlessly come to the impact and effect, because like you said, you are responsible for shaping perception
Mm-hmm.
in that space,
Yeah.
which is a space that affects so many people.
Yeah.
And one could only be curious, like, how does a political photographer see politics being in that main frame?
I, I if I can just start with saying that I think I've gained a great deal of gratitude from the experiences that working in a political office have shown me, whether it be going to other countries, whether it be in I remember the day that we finished the election campaign for, was it 29 May 2024,
Hmm.
where now no political party was allowed to campaign because there's a cutoff period
Yeah.
by IEC. I remember I left that last rally and I looked back at that stadium and I was like, what the hell was that?
Hmm.
I was like, for a good 5, 6, 7 months, like we just kept taking it up a notch.
Yeah.
It kept getting more hectic.
Hmm.
And you can feel that machinery, like when it kicks in, once the billboards are up, once
Yeah.
the t-shirts are out, when you're
Yeah.
doing door-to-door campaigns and all of that. But the gratitude that I speak about is then once 29 May happens and then they're tallying the votes. I remember I went straight to bed that day. I was like, I want to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I woke up in the morning and then I switched on my TV and I went to the news and I saw the numbers,
Hmm.
and I was like, this is
We did
insane.
it.
Like this was all up to, like, it culminated up to this point.
Hmm.
And then the then governing party at that time
Yeah.
obviously was reduced to a mere 40%,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But why I'm speaking of gratitude is the fact that we have such a healthy and strong and stable democracy in South Africa
Hmm.
that a liberation movement can lose its majority
Hmm.
and be able to form government in 10 days with 10 other parties has never been seen on this continent.
Yeah.
Usually,
True.
from
Yeah, it
next door
causes a lot of wars.
that, yeah, there
Yeah.
becomes wars, there becomes coups.
Yeah.
Um, Liberation movements usually just don't want to hand over power.
Hmm.
So it's that I've learned, that we actually have such a great country.
So that
you
makes you
know
part of the
we
maturity.
and I always say, when I talk about South Africans, is that South Africans are like the rich kids. If you went to a war school somewhere
Yeah.
and then you go to a friend's party in the suburbs in a mansion somewhere, and then you find your friend there saying, fuck you, mom, like, I'm tired of you, and you're just like,
What?
do you know what you have? You've got everything,
Yeah.
but you're still so unhappy.
Hmm.
Our government has its shortcomings, but I would say in 30 years, we really have managed to cushion, I would say, the people of South Africa, especially people who are disabled, people who are brown and black,
Yeah.
and people who come from disadvantaged environments.
Backgrounds. Yeah.
But of course, there's shortcomings even in the delivery of all of those services,
Hmm.
which I do feel like that we need to also be proud of and highlight. But the problem with South Africans is that we are those rich kids that have it all, but we just want
Still
more.
go back and
And of
say
course, it's good to hold your government accountable. That's how
accountable.
you
Yeah.
keep a democracy alive.
Hmm.
But once you leave this country and you set foot on another country, that's when you realize that, damn, I've been like hailing slow words at my president all the time, but damn, I wouldn't have it any other way.
It's so crazy how that is a common thing
Mm-hmm.
amongst people that travel. That like, yeah, make it to so many destinations, but
Mm-hmm.
I still feel that thing. Like, there's no place like my
There's no
country.
place like home. We don't have another passport besides this one.
That's so crazy. That's
Yeah.
so crazy. Uh, Tell me, how did you convince our president to have his own podcast?
It wasn't me who convinced the president to have a podcast. It was
Okay.
something that we worked on as part of a team at the office.
Yeah.
But then obviously to launch the podcast, we wanted the number one citizen of the country.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
better way to
Two.
have it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it happened. What I can say though is that I was the one who named the podcast.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course, you were wearing that t-shirt so boldly. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is
Yeah,
interesting. How did
exactly.
he convince our
Yeah.
cupcake to start his own?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. And I love the fact that you allow yourself also to be innovative in that space,
Mm-hmm.
um, and extend your creativeness to that level as
Yeah.
well. Because I'm sure you never thought you would be in that space to start with.
I manifested it.
Mm,
I didn't know that it was going to happen. And I think the part of the manifestation was that I used to always see pictures of, especially rallies.
yeah.
And I was like, no, man, like, I don't feel like you guys are doing this justice.
Mm,
There's a certain way to document um, Black happiness, pride, and joy,
yeah.
you know. And this all started with how I used to. I'm a person who loves to explore the continent
Yeah.
of Africa. So I think when I was 25, I made a pact with myself that I'll do a country in Africa every year,
Mm,
even if it's just a week or a weekend or whatever that I could afford as a freelancer at that time,
yeah.
you know. So then I would, let's say, just decide that in 4 or 5 months, I used to call myself PCB. Like, yeah, because I just literally get a flight and I'll go somewhere. I'll go to Tanzania,
I see
I'll
you
go to
call it Bree.
Nairobi in Kenya.
Bree taxi rank.
Yeah, yeah.
Get you local.
I'd go to Ghana. And
Yeah.
one thing that I found, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that I really enjoy documenting different spaces. And if I can bring that to the politics, is that every day is a different day.
Mm,
You're always meeting new people. It's not the same as sitting in an office job or you're just taking pictures of meetings.
yeah.
There's always something interesting that is happening or scheduled to happen. So in my then mid to late 20s, I would always go and travel. And then I remember 2020 was at the pandemic year.
Yeah. 2019 or
Yeah,
2020. Yeah.
2020. I obviously was unable to make an income
Mm,
because of
things were
the
shut
fact
down.
that
Yeah.
we couldn't gather. And for me, I needed people to gather for me to make money.
Mm,
So then what happened was I was sitting on a lot of images that I've documented over the years. So then I made it. There was a guy who wanted a picture of the moon that I had shot. We had a blue moon this one day, and I just like, let me get my telephoto lens and
and take a picture of the
take a
moon.
picture of the moon. And then he was like, I want to buy it from you. I was like, wait a minute, why don't I just sell these pictures that I've been shooting over these years? So
Mm,
I made a series of like images. Then I made a website, and then I allowed people to um, buy images as they wished. And like I still feel like that was the bravest thing I've ever done. I've never thought
putting yourself
that
out there
it
like
could
that.
ever happen. And that's how I sustained myself throughout the COVID time, was that I literally was just sitting on archives and archives of images
Mm.
of different places, and I made a series.
I think knowing that it was such a traumatic and horrific experience for a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of it though is how much it forced so many creatives to really go back and get their
Especially
creative
because we were
juices
always so
flowing.
scared
Yeah.
to put ourselves out there.
Mm.
So it was literally one of those where I was like, it's do or die.
And you
If
had
one
to,
person buys, it's fine.
as long as it's
But
out there.
but it sustained me.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is a strong, uh, almost philosophical ideology that you have built around your space, or that you as a person have just built for yourself that you would openly share with someone?
I'm a spiritual person,
Mm,
so I feel like we never listen to our inside voice.
mm,
And I think what has shaped my life and my career up until this point is not knowing what is coming next, but it's just knowing that there has to, like, a shift has to happen for you to vibrate on a higher level.
mm,
For example, when I went to get an when I did bag an interview in a political office, I went there not knowing what I'm doing here. I was like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, this is scary,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I was like, I have to put myself in like in an uncomfortable situation just so I can grow from here. And I feel like you do have that inside voice that tells you once you're done with something,
Mm,
whether it was my whether it was the IT or whether it was the tourism job
mm,
or whatever. There was a time where I felt like, okay, I'm worn out and I'm done now.
mm.
And I feel like it's time for whatever's next. And I feel like that time will come even in politics,
Yeah,
where I feel like I'll be exhausted or
I've
I'll
been
be
married.
old. I'll be too old to be chasing politicians around.
Mm.
And I don't know what will come next. But yeah, I just live on that basis that you grow by tackling the things that you fear the most.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what piece of advice do you have for someone who literally is struck by the fear of the unknown?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's something that disables a lot of people
Yeah.
or lowers their potential
Yeah.
so much.
I,
Because you never know what you have the potential of becoming until you're
mhm,
faced with the situation, right?
exactly. Like it sounds cliche, but it's just start somewhere.
Mm.
Like, do something.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to approach people. Don't be scared to start an idea and see it through. There was no M sessions until you took the leap of faith, I'm
Sure.
sure.
Of
And now
course.
you've built a beautiful thing, you know.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are scared of something usually means that you can overcome it.
Mm.
You know, for example, even when I do photo shoots for personal clients or my because I also work as a photographer for an institution, tertiary institution, um, corporate.
Mm.
Yeah. So every time I always say, whenever I have to take pictures of something, especially on that level, because I think with politics, it's become second nature. I do it every day. So
Yeah.
I, there's no fear there anymore. But when it
Like
comes
this is my
to
life.
working for different people, individuals, let's say I was shooting a graduation for someone
Yeah.
last week, I always become scared. And
Yeah.
I've done this for over 15 years,
Mm.
you know, if you count all of the years that I've taken pictures. But I still wake up and I'm like trembling. I'm shaking, thinking, what if I can't? What if the client's not happy? You
Mm.
know. But usually, the more scared I am, the better the output.
Is there anything that you would like to specifically go over or cover that you really want to, I don't know, push out there?
I okay, this is the first thing that just came to my mind.
Yeah.
Um, but I want more youth in politics.